Hello, everyone. Welcome, Sideline Brief Podcast, on episode 204, I believe, I want to say. Jam-packed NFL Week 13 action. We got them Bengals straight belt to ass on the Baltimore Ravens to be more Ravens. We got the Panthers winning a lights out game versus the Rams. We got a lot of Week 13 action to go over. Plus, we might drizzle in some NBA. So, for that being said, guys, stay tuned. Let's jump right into this NFL Week 13 action. A lot of games on Thanksgiving, and then we had a Black Friday game, Bears, Eagles, plus yesterday's games, all the games on Sunday. Plus, we got Patriots, Giants tonight. I'm expecting a complete mollywop by the Patriots, but we don't really need to get into that. Let's start with the Thursday games. The very first one, I believe, was the Packers-Lions in Detroit. Lawrence, what do you think about this one? It was pretty back and forth, but the Packers pulled it out on the road.
I think that game mainly came down to defense. I'm pretty sure the main factor in the game was the fact that I'm pretty sure Detroit had to punt the ball like maybe one or two more times than Green Bay did. It's just the defensive stops. It just seemed constantly like the Lions were going to be in a need to make a stop on the Packers to prevent the Packers from keeping the ball, keep that downhill effect that they had going of, I would just say, time chewing, because they just constantly had possession, it seemed. And it was always a Lions counterpunch to what the Packers did. I also would attribute to the fact that the Lions are very beat up. Offensively, there was no Laporta. There was some tight end who made his first catch of his whole career. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown got hurt on the first drive. So their literally only way to move the ball down said field was cool catches by Raymond, and Jamison Williams was running super fast. He got a touchdown that way. They got multiple drives that were not stalled due to his ability to run super fast on the field, but they just weren't able to put everything together because the running game couldn't get, I would just say, cruising.
Yeah, Gibbs did not have a good night. Neither did Montgomery, but he was mainly used around the in the red zone, so can't really attribute most of that to him. Yeah, I think once Amon-Ra went down, they had tough time getting the ball down the field, making big explosive plays. It was pretty much Jamison Williams a bust. I don't think that's where you want to the position you want to be if you're the Packer or the Lions, I should say. So, yeah, I honestly thought the Packers or the Lions wouldn't do a good job of passing the ball, but Jared Goff did pretty well passing the ball. He was pressured a lot, but managed to keep his composure for the most part. But yeah, I think this was one of the few complete games by the Packers in terms of defense and the offense showing up. It wasn't just everything, the offense being carried by Josh Jacobs for once. I think Jordan Love carried his fair share of the offense in that game. Then we got the Chiefs Cowboys. Them boys actually pulled it off. I kind of thought that this might happen just because the Chiefs defense is kind of on a downward trend. Plus, the Cowboys. I'm not gonna say the defense has been trending up, but it's definitely been playing better. And the offense, we know how prolific the offense is. So, what are your takeaways from this one?
The takeaways are just, I don't know. I think it's becoming more prevalent because we know that the Cowboys have no defense, like zero, zitch, nada, nothing. They ain't got nothing. The Chiefs couldn't even move said ball on their defense. That looked very suspect on multiple games coming in. On multiple drives in this game, they look suspect. And the fact that they weren't able to constantly put drives and or scores together, I think is an attribute of two. I don't know. I think this is the first season that we've seen, other than like when Sky Moore was around, but they always change that thing around real quick, where I don't think Mahomes really feels comfortable throwing to his receivers. And I really don't get it because Hollywood Brown doesn't even get used in the offense almost at all. I don't know how you could be afraid to throw it to Hollywood Brown. I mean, he's made a pretty good career. I wouldn't say nothing like rock star material, but a decent enough career. Like Juju is not amazing, but he is. He's cool. He's good. You got Travis Kelce. You're like pretty much Chiefs all time leader in multiple things. Worthy's pretty quick. So I don't understand where his issues of getting guys the ball this year has spawned from, but it's very quite apparent. It could be the fact that his O line is constantly being bombarded.
Yeah, I think that's probably the big part, right? The O line is just not up to snuff. It's the O line's been trending downward since last year. They haven't really found replacements for a lot of the guys that got paid and went elsewhere, or just guys that got older and they needed to replace. Seems like they kind of maybe found a replacement at left tackle in Simmons. He's definitely better than I guess Taylor was the left tackle, then moved him to the right tackle. But other than that, in the center, you can't really say they got any stellar parts on that offensive line. So I think that's really affecting the offense. Especially, they don't really have that running back. Pacheco's not the same. Hunt is not really who you want to be like your lead horse running back. So the Chiefs got a lot of problems on offense, and in this one they just couldn't score enough to keep up with the Cowboys' offense. That between Pickens and Lamb, and even Javonte Williams, who coming off ACL surgery 2 years ago, is looking a lot better. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at this outcome at all. Do you think this is the inflection point for the Chiefs, Lawrence? Like, they got to win out to probably make the playoffs, right?
I would believe so. I think you got at least one more loss in you, but I
Mm-hmm.
think at this point the Chiefs, you can look at them as if you're a one and done. You lose one more and you're done. But on another hand, you can't really look at it like that because they're playing the Chargers, so that helps them in their favor. They're playing the Broncos and they're playing the Raiders. They're playing the Titans, so we're not going to assume they're going to lose a game to the Titans. We're not going to assume they're going to lose a game to the Raiders. So those are two. So you're really coming down to the fact that the Texans game is a must win, and the Chargers game is a must win. The Titans will be a win probably
Mm-hmm.
because it's the Titans and the Raiders. That'll put you at 10 wins. Can you? Then it comes to the question of can you make it to the playoffs with 10 wins? Because you would hope to strive for 11, but that means beating the Broncos. And as it's standing right now, that's gonna be a Christmas game. Now there might be a lot riding on that game. There might be like a big cloud over the stadium um, for Dark Magic. Maybe they can pull that one out. But we're just saying they get one more loss. That's 10 wins. Can they make it with 10 wins? And you look around the rest of the AFC, that's when your question comes because the rest of the AFC in the wild card race, the Bills, Colts, and Chargers are the ones standing on the outs. They all have 8 wins. Chargers,
Yep.
Colts, I think the Colts. So advantage would be they would have the advantage of the Colts. They would not have the advantage of the Bills. So kind of you're right. They kind of do have to win out. I think they need 10 or 11 wins, and well, you're gonna have to help the Chargers get down to 10 wins. The Chargers are gonna be playing the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, Texans, and the Broncos. Herbert broke his hand, so the Chargers, those waters are very murky. You can steal their spot. But then, even stealing their spot, the Texans have now jumped you in the standings, and their finish of the season is Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, and Colts outside of the Chiefs. Not looking good for you. And if the Texans somehow beat you and you still win out after the Chiefs, they will hold a tiebreaker on you. They will have 2 games on you, and their schedule is
Yep.
easy as hell. So, I mean, I don't know what the percentage chances of the Chiefs to make the playoff are, but it's got to be in my mind pretty low.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, it's probably less than 50, and even extremely. lesser than that if they lose this upcoming game to the Chiefs. I believe it's Sunday Night Football, so definitely something I keep our eyes on. And finally, the last game of Thursday night, straight belt to ass. Joe Burr, Joe Shiesty, Tojo made his return. Looked a little rusty, but didn't stop. Didn't stop that belt whooping, that ass whooping we put on the Be More Ravens in Baltimore. By the way, defense showed up, 5 turnovers. It was a rough first half. The Bengals, I think 3 or 4 red zone attempts, only scored on 3 of them, and they all were field goals. A little rough in the first half, but I think Joe got into a good rhythm. Second half, started throwing some more dimes. You couldn't tell the man was off for 10 weeks. Any thoughts on the game, Lawrence, before I go in?
No, I listened to you more because I actually I was kind of in and out of this game. There was a lot of college basketball finishing off for the
Mm-hmm.
day. There was the Navy versus Memphis game that was also on that was intriguing first half. And honestly, this game I would like to say was kind of, I wouldn't say of a hard watch, but it was more of a disappointing watch because I'm not gonna lie, there was multiple times as I was watching it where the teams, both of them, they just couldn't get anything going. And then when they did get something going, it was like this big fluke play, like the one Henry run all the way for a touchdown. It just didn't seem like it had much rhythm to it, especially on the Ravens end. I honestly, you can chalk it up to like a huge dud on their end. We don't even know what Ravens team we just saw, but it wasn't a good one.
Yeah, they did not play well at all. Starting with Lamar Jackson, I think he accounted for at least I think 3 of the turnovers. I know Zay Flowers had a fumble. So yeah, I think Lamar was 3 or 4 of the turnovers. Yeah, Ravens do not look good. Lamar does not look the same since coming back from the hamstring. To me, it looks like Lamar is still dealing with lingering hamstring issues, even though I believe on the injury report the past couple of weeks it's been his toe or his ankle or some other lower leg injury. But I mean, when you just watch him run, he's not outrunning people, or he's barely outrunning people. He's sliding more. He's running out of bounds, not really taking hits. So you can definitely tell something's going on with him. But um, yeah, I mean, their defense is still bad. Like nothing's changed there. I know they've been trending up because they're getting some of their guys back, but defense can still be had for sure. But yeah, I think you're right. Both teams didn't get into a rhythm. Bengals did second half, ran the ball better. Joe started hitting some of those passes in the first half that he was missing. Absolute dime to Tanner Hudson, one-handed catch in the end zone. Absolute dime to Yoshi on that, I think it was like 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9 pass over 2 defenders or in between 2 defenders. What can I say about Joe, man? He really inspired the team like I thought he would, and defense definitely played off his energy. Definitely looked rusty though, but I think he shook a lot of that off second half, and I think everyone's just playing better. Offensive line's been playing really good. Chase Brown's been averaging like 5 yards a carry, like 5.5 yards per carry. I think he's like 3rd in like scrimmage yards the past couple of weeks behind C-Mac and I think it's like C-Mac, Bijan, and JT. So he's been killing it. I think everything's coming together. It's just unfortunate that it's taken until week 13 to get complimentary football played on both sides. So, um, it might suck that Joe saves Zach Taylor's job once again, Lawrence, but it's always good to see your quarterback play well. Come back and play well. I will say that. So we'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out, but good game for them. And then we got the Bears Eagles. What can we say about the Eagles? They just the Eagles make the playoffs, but I don't think they're gonna last too long in the playoffs, Lawrence. I don't know if you have the same sentiment, but their offense is trash. Can't really move the ball. Can't get in the good rhythm. They let the Bears beat them at home. This is something.
I mean, I don't know. I think the Bears were a very good hot team coming into this game. I think the Eagles' main flaw is Their need to want to make I would say the receiver happy, but then on top of making that receiver happy is putting the whole shebang together as you're doing it. I personally think that they are a better team when they just run, chew clock, make it hard with option routes. Maybe that's what really they need to do is run more option and maybe make Jalen Hurts throw it out of the option more often. Well, nonetheless, regardless, they want to get their top end receivers effectively into the game. But multiple teams we're seeing, they're just like, okay, well, beat us with your arm. And then we're also seeing teams. We're just gonna say beat the Eagles in multiple different ways, game in, game out. We didn't think the Eagles had a running or a rushing stop or run stop problem. We didn't. We had two guys go for 125 and a touchdown. So then there is a problem. Let's not sugarcoat. There's a problem.
Yep.
But we didn't think that was their issue. We thought maybe there were some injuries on the back end. They were getting tore up a little bit. No, it's starting to seem like certain cuts are causing other places to bleed.
Yeah, and then the thing is, they made all those trades around the trade deadline to kind of shore up the defense. But you're right; they're kind of just bleeding everywhere from the defense. You think the last place it would be is the run defense, but giving up 281 yards of rushing is pretty bad look for that very flaunted D line that they supposedly have. So tough times for the Eagles and their fans. What can you say? Sunday, I guess we'll get straight into it. Your Panthers played in the 1 o'clock window, so I think we'll start there in terms of the games.
Okay, well, let's see. I don't know what else to attribute other than it was just all around just a perfect performance. And honestly, I went into this game thinking that the minus 10.5 on the Rams side was a lock. I didn't bet that or anything. I bet the Panthers money line straight up because I had some guts. I bet the Panthers spread too because I had some balls. I thought I was really just the odd man, the only one not seeing the full picture. Um, because all the public money was on the Rams, and I was kind of agreeing with them, but I had to stick by my team. Bryce Young automatically was just basically a Tom Brady back in his heyday. Emmanuel Forbes makes sense. He was a former Washington Commander corner. Pretty cheeks. He got beat twice on fourth down for touchdowns. He basically didn't know how to stop a go route. Or he just didn't expect anyone to run a go route on fourth down.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how you get beat twice like that, but he did. He's gonna be hearing it. Honestly, Matthew Stafford also lost the game for them too. We can't blame the other man too hard. Matthew Stafford did have 3 turnovers on his own, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble right at the end to pretty much seal the deal. Honestly, the Coker, awesome game. McMillan, he had 1 catch. That's all he needed to do. It was more of a get it done by passing it around kind of day. Xavier get 1 yard. Running backs were effective, but they were more effective in more of a beat them and down kind of way. And I think this game was a really proof that Hubbard and Dottle can really work together. I think that is something that can be. I think that's something that can be used in tandem. Honestly, for the Rams, they were pretty much the hottest team coming in, and we snuffed that flame.
Yeah, I didn't watch this game. I think this was on Fox. So I didn't have this one on, but one hell of a game by the Panthers. I remember the highlights kept coming in on the multi-view, and I was like, wow, Panthers might actually get this one done, and they did. So shout out to the Panthers. They definitely had a big win versus the Rams. The other 1 o'clock windows, I had the 49ers Browns on, but 49ers kind of just mollywopped them. Not much to say there. Jags, Titans, I didn't watch that. Not much to say there. Texans, Colts. what I will say about this one is you can definitely tell, at least for me, that Jones was hurt. He didn't look quite the same, but he definitely kept the Colts in there. Uh, Texans defense played very well. Managed JT pretty well, 4 yards a carry. Decent, but not his usual breakout game. He seemingly has every game this season. They did honestly. CJ Stroud did just enough to win this one, so gotta give him props. But Texans, I think, are legit. They're hitting their stride at the right time, and like you were saying earlier, Lawrence, they got a pretty easy schedule going forward. Besides this upcoming game versus the Chiefs, so they got a real shot to make some noise in the playoffs.
I think a lot of AFC teams do as well. I honestly, the bottleneck, I honestly believe will be more on the NFC side. I think there's so many medium to good NFC teams, but if we're comparing them to AFC teams, I don't think we're in the same boat. So I think there's just gonna be a lot. This is a season where you don't actually know who's super good. You don't know who the best teams are, and honestly, I don't think that's a bad way or a bad season to have. I think it's good that the talent, I would say, is spread out pretty well.
No, I agree. It's a lot of parity this year. Like you said, you really don't have a good feeling on who's going to dominate in the postseason. Has been like that for a while. Dolphins won another game versus the Saints. Not much to say there. Dolphins, I think, I got a slight playoff chance as well. Including the Bengals. So that'll be interesting to see how the Dolphins look down the stretch. Mike McDaniel's pretty much playing for his job. I think if he finishes well, they probably keep him for another year. I think the owner has some affinity towards him. I don't know, but Jets beat the Falcons on a walk-off field goal, I believe. I was watching that one. Yeah, I think it's safe to say at this point, Lawrence, that Raheem Morris his job is very much at stake. If he if he keeps on losing, I think he's going to lose his job.
I think he's already lost his job, but I don't think the owner's going to fire him in the middle of the season.
Yeah, he might be the chopping block after this one, but yeah, NFC South team you don't got to worry about if you're a Panthers fan. Bills, Vikings, Seahawks beat the brakes off the Vikings. No surprise there. Bucks won a close one versus the Cardinals. I think the game of the evening though was probably Bills Steelers. Aaron Rodgers didn't look like quite himself. Did a little finger pointing at his wide receivers and his tight ends. Even though he hasn't played well for 3 weeks at least by now, so I don't know how you feel about that. But I think the Steelers and the Ravens are trending down. I think they both are teams that other teams aren't afraid of.
I would agree with that.
Very much pretenders.
However, one of those two is probably making the playoffs.
We shall see about that. But Bills, I mean, even without their two, I think both their tackles were out, right? They still seemingly ran the ball pretty well with James Cook and Josh Allen. So I think that was the most interesting thing was would Pittsburgh be able to stop the run while Buffalo's O-line beat the hell up, but I guess not.
I think it came down to the fact that the Steelers' offense couldn't keep the ball moving and rolling. And then when you can't keep the ball rolling and moving, things pop up. Things such as this. You get beat 26-0 or 26-7.
7, yeah. Chargers beat the hell out the Raiders. Herbie, he broke his hand. He broke his left hand, right? He's going to have surgery, I think, today or tomorrow, and he said he's still expecting to start next game. So I wonder if he actually does, but something to keep our eyes on.
I will say that their schedule for the Chargers, it gets so hard. And honestly, it might behoove them to let him sit one game, possibly, most likely lose it. But, I mean, I can't see a man going out there and doing fairly well with a broken hand. I mean, I know it's not his throwing hand, but still, Rogers looked like shit with his wrist cast on.
He did. No, you're 100% right. Trey Lance, I think, did a pretty good job in the preseason. I would just give him a shot, see what happens. And then the game of the night, or last game of the night, Broncos Commanders. I thought for sure the Broncos were going to beat the brakes out the Commanders, but the Commanders put up a fight. Bo Nix looked off at times, couldn't keep the drive sustained. Um, and then Commanders they answered with a touchdown in overtime. Broncos scored first in overtime, then the Commanders, and then they go for two. And I think it was Nick Bonito, right? Got the pass deflection to win the game. Yeah, Broncos. I mean, Broncos defense is legit, but their offense is just. I've been saying this for weeks. The offense is just suspect, and I think you said it last episode where you said, "Don't take the Broncos spread because it might be one of these games where the offense lets you down. It can't score enough to cover." So I think you're definitely on something.
Yeah, I mean they just constantly like they're not all together. I think they're also I wouldn't say hate, but our thoughts on the Eagles. I think the Broncos are also in that same category, or right up. I feel like they could easily get bounced in the very first round because they just don't know how to put I don't know. It feels like sometimes they take games for granted. And you give a team a chance in the playoffs, things happen differently than when you give them a chance in the regular season.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that one. That's it for NFL. A little bit of NBA. My Heatles lost to the Pistons in a close one. I think this was Saturday night. I think the Heat were down by like almost 20, and then they went on a 30-10 run to close the fourth. If Norman Powell doesn't dribble it out of bounds off his knee, the Heat probably take that one to overtime. But yeah, it was still a close game, still huge. The fact that they didn't get blown out at the very end is very promising. So I think if we look at the standings, I think the Heat still top four. I think the Raptors got their streak. I think they lost to Charlotte. Then they lost again. The Knicks on a 4-game win streak. The Pistons, of course, they just won against the Heat. Um, then we're rounding out the East with the Hawks Magic. Um, any thoughts on the last week of NBA action?
You all right? Was it me
Yeah.
that cut out or you cut out? I know one of
Um,
us cut out. Anywho, you're talking about your Heatles, Norman Powell dribbling off the knee.
yeah. Cost us the game with the Pistons, but still in the top four. You got any thoughts about the last week or so of the NBA?
Honestly, going into the season, I thought the Suns were going to be kind of worse than what they are. I've kind of pleasantly and quietly been surprised and pleased by the Suns. I don't know if you have any more to elaborate to me about the Curry injury, but if Curry's not there, is that pretty much safe to say that the Warriors are kind of doomed? I would say that.
Well,
I think Butler can get him to the playoffs, but I think if we're the Warriors and we're thinking in the Warriors mindset, playoffs, just getting to playoffs is not what they're looking for.
yeah, I think Curry's gonna be out another week or so, so it'll be interesting to see if Jimmy can carry them to a couple of wins. Um, they haven't played well in the last 10. They only, they're 5-5 in the last 10. They signed Seth Curry, so I think he's going to join the team, but I don't know if he's the right Curry to keep them afloat, right? So uh, I don't know. It's a tough space for them to be in right now, especially with the Suns playing better than them, the Wolves, all these teams ahead of them. They don't want to dig themselves in too deep of a hole. So I don't think Steph, at his age, can really dig them out. He needs a lot more help than he used to. So it's interesting to see. The Spurs, I feel like, are one team we got to keep our eyes on because they are still playing well without Wemby. Wemby's been out for a couple weeks now, and Fox, Castle, Vassell, Kellen Johnson, they're still playing pretty good without Wemby in the lineup. So I think that's like a big development. I think the Spurs might be legit. Like they might be a contender. I don't know if you have thoughts on that, but I think we can add them to that group.
But I remember at the beginning of the season, you were not nearly this excited nor high on this team. Would you like to elaborate of your changing of your guard or changing of your ways? Would you like to explain your why?
I thought that Fox wouldn't play as well, but he's been playing well. He's him and Castle have pretty much fed off each other pretty well. So I wasn't expecting that, and the fact that they've been playing pretty well without Wemby gives me a little bit more, I guess, confidence to lean towards putting them in that contender category with the Thunder, the Rockets, the Nugs, and I guess you can throw the Lakers in there, but the Lakers might be in the pretender category, even though they won 7 in a row. I still don't like some of the pieces the Lakers have. So I don't know. I think that's what I'm thinking.
Well, fair then.
But I mean, look at the top. We got OKC 20-1, 12 in a row. It's hard to say when they're gonna lose again. Honestly, I'm gonna say it again. I said they might win 70 games this year, and they are right on pace. And they're on pace to get the Clippers pick, which might be a top 3 pick. So scary hours if they get a Cameron Boozer or who else is going to be in the lottery? These college kids, Boozer, Carmelo's kid, right? He might be in there.
Well, I don't know about that because the Syracuse Orange look pretty bad.
Damn.
I know it's Carmelo's kid and all, but like, I don't know. I thought he would look a little better. I thought his whole team would look a little better. I don't know. I think there's like who is it? I think Rutgers. No, Rutgers doesn't have any good players. No, I mean currently so far in the season, I haven't seen enough of the college games to know who's the hot picks or who's top picks.
Mm-hmm.
I know St. John's has a couple one and dones. There's a couple teams out there with some one and dones.
Fair enough. That's all I got for NBA. Do you have anything else before we head out?
No. Well, honestly, one thing you should know is George Mason got a one whole vote for AP Top 25. They got a one single vote. But we're also the only A10 team to receive a vote. My sources do say that the A10 is trending really hot in this season. The Big East is trending downward, so that does look good for us in terms of getting more than one single bid to the tournament this year. I think it's idiotic that we can only get one bid from this conference, but I think it's a good thing.
I mean, as of late, Mason's been beating the hell out of people. So if we continue that streak of beating the hell out of people, the votes should continue to come in for us. I think we got Cornell this week and Virginia Tech, right?
Mm-hmm. I think beating Virginia Tech will look really good for us if we can do it.
Yeah, that is, I believe, in Blacksburg. I think we play Cornell at home, so definitely 2 games we'll keep track and probably update everyone on later this week. But yeah, that's all I got, Lawrence. So I guess we'll head on out. Thank you guys for watching episode 204. We will see you later this week. Peace.
Sayonara.